Hi, this is Angela Kinney, and I'm the herbalist at Nature Made Gardens. I wanted to do a video today of elderberries. We did a video earlier on elder flowers, and now, as you can see, the elderberries are in berry form. So this head right here has got still green on it and purple, so it's not ready yet. But this one up here, this one looks like it's ready to be picked. And so today we're going to talk about elderberries. So elderberries grow in a shrub-like form. You can see that these are fairly tall, a pretty good sized little patch here. We've been picking very heavily on these, so some of these have already been picked, and we've been so busy it's been hard for me to get a video done. So elderberries is something that I really use in my herbal business. And so today we're going to I'll show you that you can just cut these heads like this, and you just cut it off, and you can see the elderberries. They're very plump. We've had a very dry, hot summer, so we've had to water this year on our elderberries. This one here, this one looks like it's a little bitty one, but we've already harvested almost all of it. Sometimes you can harvest some of them. And then you can leave some of the green ones. So this head right here has already had some cut off of it, so this isn't the full head, so we're going to go ahead and take the rest of that head. And even though it's got like a few berries on it that's green, this one right here, put that in there. And then this one right here, we've got lots of green ones. See, some of your elderberries, they will come on all at one time, and a lot of them you'll have like little green ones in there, and there's different varieties, lots of different varieties of elderberries. They're just all come on different. Some of them will really lean over like this, and some of them when they're ripe they're up like this, and the birds really get them. Sometimes we take them just because the birds are gonna get them too, so we go ahead and of course we always leave some for the birds. They get their fair share, and so do the chickens. We have chickens and they get their fair share too. So this head, we're just gonna clip that off right there, and we're gonna let that ripen up a little bit more. Maybe take this bottom one here. And so we're just harvesting elderberries today. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about elderberries. Elderberries are a really great antiviral, and an antiviral is something that helps you fight against viruses. Elderberry has a long history as being an antiviral, which fights against colds and flus. It's also an anti-inflammatory, and it has many antioxidants in it, properties in it, so it's really a nutritive food, and it's also a great medicine. So with elderberries, you can do many things with elderberries. You can make a jam or a jelly out of them. You can make a syrup like that you would put on food as a food, or you can make a medicinal syrup out of it. You can make a shrub, and a shrub is something that I do a lot. You take the elderberries and you put it in organic apple cider vinegar and let it infuse for a couple weeks, and then you strain it off and match it with honey. And so that's really good for your immune system, which is in your gut, and that's also good for your gut. So that is one of my favorite ways of using elderberry is in a shrub. You can also make it into a tea. You can dry these berries and you can save them for later and make them into tea. You could also dry them, and you could dry them and then reconstitute them and make them into a syrup. Some people will buy their elderberries dried, and that's how they make their syrup. I freeze my elderberries, and when I use it for a shrub or a syrup, a medicinal syrup, I freeze them into bags into the freezer. You can also tincture it, and you can the way you need to tincture it is fresh. And so I tincture these berries fresh. You can use the alcohol method, or you can use the glycerin method. And of course, I already talked about making it with the vinegar. You can also, let's see, what else can you do with the elderberries? Quite a few things. So just fantastic food and medicine. Whenever you freeze them, lots of people just freeze them like this in a bag and put it in the freezer, and then they shake off the berries. I put up a lot of them, so I don't like to do it that way because I have space issues. So some people take a fork and they comb it with a fork, and that gets the berries off. My husband and I process these every night. This is August, and we pick these, he picks them for me, and then I come home from work, and then we just work these up every evening, and I just pull them off like this. They are super easy to pull off. To me, this is the fastest way, and when I'm sitting there in the evening pulling these off, I'm actually pretty fast, and I can work up a bowl of these in just no time. So you can see it stained my finger a little bit. Some people have used it as dyes. If you're interested in using it for a dye, you can also use it for a dye. So, but what elderberry does as an antiviral is it protects the cells from viruses coming in. It protects that cell against those viruses. So it's very good as a preventive for illness. And so in the fall, lots of times you start in taking the elderberry. You can take it on a daily basis, a small dose as a preventive. But then if you got sick, if you did go ahead and get yourself, maybe was run down, maybe you haven't been getting enough sleep, maybe you haven't been eating right, all these things play a factor in getting sick. And so maybe you did come down with some kind of a flu or a cold. You could take elderberry as a tincture, as a syrup, as a shrub, and you could take it more often. You would take it like maybe every hour, very small dose, and just take it just regularly every hour. And it's been known and had history and lots and lots of research on it that it will prevent that. It'll shut that cold and flu down. What lots of times you'll read on the label of a lot of elderberry products and stuff is they'll tell you to take it maybe 3 times a day. But really, technically, if you are sick and you come down with something, you can take it fairly often. You just take a smaller dose. That way it's in your system and it fights it off. And so that length of that flu or cold will really be shortened. My favorite way is to use it as a preventive. So I've also had really good results in using it for people that have asthma and that have allergy problems. So it's really great to strengthen that respiratory system, or people that are really known to have pneumonia and bronchitis and things like that every year. If they'll take elderberry, that'll get that immune system strong, and it'll get their respiratory system strong. So it's just a very, very great medicine. Now, I have had people ask me that have autoimmune diseases if they can take the elderberry, and I'm somebody that has rheumatoid arthritis. And so I do not take any kind of medicine. So I've been able to really cure myself from the rheumatoid by using herbs. This herb is an immune modulator. So it doesn't, it modulates your immune system. It modulates inflammation. And so for me, it doesn't cause me to have a flare-up with the rheumatoid. But for people that are taking a medicine that is suppressing their immune system, I don't usually recommend elderberry too, because they're suppressing their immune system, and then they're trying to take elderberry to boost their immune system, and you're working against the medicine. So I don't recommend it to people that are on an immune suppressant, autoimmune disease, where they're suppressing their immune system by prescription drug. So you would just be working against yourself on that. But for people that have autoimmune diseases, there's a lot of people that don't have a problem with taking it. Somebody like me that has rheumatoid, I've had rheumatoid since 1999, and I've been medicine free for 8 years. I've been taking elderberry and I've not had any flare, don't have to take any kind of medicine. So do I say it's for rheumatoid arthritis? I think that there's a lot of studies that say that it is anti-inflammatory and good for arthritis. But my biggest use for it is for the immune system. I really had very good results with that. I try to provide elderberries for my community that I live in, and that way that they can have elderberry products that they can easily get a hold of. It's easy to make a syrup, it's easy to make a tincture, to make a shrub. When to eat it, you would need to cook it. Whenever I use in the shrub, I use the vinegar, and the vinegar cooks it. When you do a tincture, the tincture method usually cooks it. So you're not really having a problem with raw berries. There is several studies out saying that the raw berries are okay now. I wouldn't eat a bunch of raw berries. I think it might upset your stomach a little bit. So if you're going to make it into like a food, like a tea, you would be heating it up. If you dried it, you would be that's a method of dehydrating it. If you made it into a tea, or if you made it into a syrup, you would be cooking it. So lots of different ways to use the elderberries. An abundant food that grows in the wild. I showed you on a video. If you want to see how to identify it, if you'll identify it in the flower stage and mark the spot, then you can come back to when it's in this berry form. Because when it's in this berry form and you're looking around for it, you just don't notice it. These berries just kind of hide out, and we're up close and you can see it, but if you was in a distance, you wouldn't probably even notice it. So you always need to pick your elderberries in an area that hasn't been sprayed or any chemicals used. We planted these elderberries here because we wanted to have organic elderberries that I could make available for people that wish to use elderberry products. So this is just a few things about elderberry. I'm going to be doing another video on the immune system, and I'll cover a little bit more about the elderberry. And so I just wanted to show you elderberry tonight. And look at this little basket of elderberry. What a beautiful antioxidant. Look at that rich color. So that's great for your eyes, great for your health. And so elderberry, try it. Thanks for watching today.